Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Keli Krueger-Huhra, and I am the director of the Illinois APEX Accelerator at Champaign County Economic Development Corporation. And today we're going to talk about what is an APEX Accelerator Center and how can it help your business. Please note that there are housekeeping tips in the chat. If you would take a look at those, I would appreciate it. And we're going to start with what is the APEX Accelerator? So the APEX Accelerator, we are under the management of the Department of Defense's Office of Small Business Programs, and you'll hear that referred to as OSBP. And the Illinois APEX Accelerators essentially are the front door to help expand the number of businesses capable of pursuing and performing under contracts, getting you government industrial base and defense industrial base ready to work under contracts not only with the Department of Defense, but also other federal agencies and state and local government agencies as well, and to work as subcontractors with government prime contractors. So we are looking to provide critical education and training to businesses that want to participate in that marketplace. We are Apex Accelerators looking to generate new procurement suppliers for local, state, and federal government agencies, in resulting in a stronger industrial base, greater competition, and lower quality goods at a lower and higher quality goods at a lower cost for the taxpayer. And we really can be critical enablers to opening the defense industrial base to small, non-traditional companies who are on the forefront of innovation. So part of what we do is help those innovators to find funding, to find resources, and open the doors as well to non-traditional companies. So the local APEX Accelerator, we're a member of a bigger picture of a national APEX Accelerator Alliance, also referred to as NAPEX. We were formerly known, those you may be familiar with PTAX in the past before we moved over to the Office of Small Business Programs at the Department of Defense. And so what's great about being part of a larger network is these are all resources that we can tap into. So there are 97 centers across the United States, and it includes the territories as well. And the centers are all set up differently. Some serve a state, some serve their communities, as we do in the state of Illinois, and also Native American centers. And we support each other. And when we have questions that we can't get answered, we can reach out to these other Apex accelerators that many of whom we have met as part of the National Organization and Professional Development Conferences. And so all of these government experts in total have assisted more than 50,000 businesses each year. In Illinois, we have 11 community-based centers, and this is just an example of the centers and where they are located. Here at the Champaign County EDC, we support most of the businesses throughout central Illinois that would like to take advantage of the services that we can offer. And the Illinois APEX Accelerator Network, we have in the program year of 2023, our businesses that we have assisted have won nearly 150 government contracts worth over $83 million. And we've served in accomplishing that metric 1,419 businesses. We conduct seminars and we've done about 111 statewide events. And our staff conducted more than 4,758 counseling sessions and numbers more than 6,600 hours of counseling. And we've helped create jobs through our assistance and coaching, mentoring with our business create more than 181 jobs and saved 294 jobs. What does that look like? What is that level of assistance that we provide? So you see on the left-hand side, this is just an overview of the services that we can provide. So where does it all start? It really starts in conducting market research, helping you find government opportunities when you target the agencies you want to work with, and establish relationships with those agencies. We can help you with your SAM registration and then really just laying out for you what those registrations for all government agencies are going to look like. Read and understand government bids and proposal solicitations. Locate businesses that you might want to team with, partner with, meta-protege with. We're going to get into some of these in a little bit more detail. Locate technical information, pricing data. Very important if you're putting together a proposal. Understanding the requirements, particularly for the Department of Defense, can get very complicated in packaging requirements. The military standards are not for the faint at heart. So how do you get help with that? We certainly will do that. Navigate the certifications, and we will get into that as well. Prepare for those pre-bid conferences, those networking opportunities that you're going to have, debriefings if you're bidding, and pre-award meetings if you're winning those contracts. So you're probably asking, how can an Apex Accelerator assist you? So first of all, we're going to talk about why you want to be in that government marketplace. And you probably know or assume that the federal contract spending is the world's largest buyer. In fact, that was 630 billion with a B in fiscal year 23. 14 billion of that was spent in Illinois, in which 3 billion went to small businesses. And that's where we focus a lot of our attention, is getting small businesses into that federal government marketplace. And that spend 170.4 billion in fiscal year 23 was with small businesses. And the Department of Defense spends more than 67% of the federal procurement budget that's eligible for small businesses. So now you can see why the Department of Defense is a major partner in funding and acquiring funds through the National Defense Authorization Act for the APEX Accelerator Network. And the DoD awarded more than 92 billion in prime contracts to small businesses. And over 2 billion of that, again, we were able to bring back to our Illinois small businesses. And the state of Illinois awards more than $7 billion of contracts each year. And so when you look at state awards, all states, local awards, and education, and they refer to that as SLED. SLED is the acronym for that. That spend is $1.5 trillion per year. So the federal agencies have a goal of doing 23% of their contract awards with small businesses, and they have sub goals for certain groups that we're going to look at. So the SLED goals, however, will vary from state to state, and we will talk specifically about Illinois as we wrap up the presentation. So just in general, this is a multi-trillion-dollar marketplace. Okay. One of the things that we also are very intent on is informing of opportunities. And this is just one example. Infrastructure Act was one that we followed very closely. When that bill was introduced in the bipartisan approval of that, implementation of that, we searched out, where is that money going to go? How is it going to be awarded? And how do we get our Illinois vendors prepared for that award? So when we looked at the Infrastructure Act, we saw that although that money was a federal commitment, it was going to come down through the states. And so what did that mean to our businesses? And that meant getting certifications, if they were appropriate, through the state agencies, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise and the State of Illinois Business Enterprise. So then we looked at, well, where's the spend going to come through? And then we got specific about how the funds were going to be spent. So we knew how to direct our businesses to find those opportunities. So first of all, again, we want to find out, does the government buy what we sell? So we're here to be that advice that you need for that and helping you identify a potential federal customer and also a potential state customer. And research is really key. So we'll walk you through the different resources that are available to find the propensity to buy your product. So what that propensity means is in doing your market research, who's buying it? How much are they buying? Is this an area that would be a payoff, time invested and in return on that investment is key. And how do they buy it? So who's buying it? How much are they buying? And how are they buying it? So that all sums up really into the propensity for your product or service to be in the marketplace. So in doing that, we're going to look at available websites, available data banks for you to do that data analysis. One of those is, as you see on the screen here, the Federal Procurement Data System Next Generation. Now, this is a historic database. If the contract is more than $3,500, it's going to eventually be stored into this database. This is an older database, as you can see from the screen. It's not fancy, it is data, but the data is very important to a potential business in the marketplace, in the government marketplace. As you can see on the left side, this database will give you, with no special search inquiry other than a keyword, the top 10 departments that are purchasing what you sell. Then it's going to break that down even further to make it more realistic for building those relationships into the top 10 contracting agencies that are actually buying for those departments. And then the third and final query that you're going to get here are the top 10 vendors. Now, these are vendors that are currently in the marketplace. So in theory, they could be your competitors because they already have those contract awards, but they can also be teaming partners. They could be mentors. They could be joint venture partners, and you could potentially be a subcontractor to them because they already have business in that marketplace. Okay. Another database we look at is usaspending.gov. usaspending.gov, as you can see again from this screenshot, information, also historic, formatted differently. And you can see here, you can get spending by geography. So if you wanted to find out your commodity or service and how much is spent in the state of Illinois by the U.S. government, you could hover over the state of Illinois and get that level of detail. You can sort by fiscal years. The government fiscal year is a bit different than most. It runs from October 1st through September 30th. So you can break down information a bit differently. The first screen of FPDS is the authoritative source of the data. These other data banks will filter that data and sort it a little bit differently. And then last but not least, we have SAM.gov. SAM became also a place to find inactive or historic data, but has some additional features in their data bank in SAM.gov. So we would talk about how to use all of those resources, and truly you use them all in one form or another to put that puzzle together for how the government buys, what they buy, and how much they're buying it. Okay. One of the other things you're going to learn through an Apex Accelerator is that how they're buying it, that portion of the puzzle that says, where do you need to be as a business to take advantage of this marketplace? So this little acquisition pyramid, starting at the bottom, kind of lines up for you the different methods that the agencies, this is all federal related, will buy product. So starting with the open market, many of the contracting offices have purchase cards. Those purchase cards allow them to make purchases less than $10,000 on an instrument very similar to a credit card. Okay, good for the vendor. Vendors get paid without having to go through a process that is required when you get up into the higher dollar commodities and service purchases. So those contracts are pretty definitive. They may be a one-time purchase order, but that is one way to buy in the open market. Then you step up into more complicated methods is such as GSA schedules, your government-wide indefinite delivery vehicles, and setting those up can be very lucrative. But there's also complications that go with those. So you need the assistance to help you understand how do you get on those platforms. Again, if the agency you're targeting is using that type of method for their procurements. Then you have special programs if you are an organization that is employing the disabled, the handicapped, the blind. Those Ability One and Source America companies that are registered there, qualify there. They have some segmented commodities that the government targets towards those agencies, those special programs. And then you have something called again, an indefinite delivery vehicle, but something called a MATOC. That's done a lot in construction, multiple award, where an agency will pick you and a small group of other vendors, and they will target you then in that small group for when they do have needs. So they set up a $0 contract. They will release their requirements when they need them, what they need, and then that is where the contract awards, the dollar values actually come into play. Okay, so when you look at what is going to be required, again, we will help you walk through, okay, I found my market research has determined that the federal government would be a good place for me. How do I prepare to do that? One of the mandatory preparations that you do as a registration at sam.gov. So as you can see on the screen here, we already mentioned that sam.gov was someplace that we went to for our market research. Now it's going to be a place where we actually enter the business name and information, very important information for a contracting officer that is interested in doing business with you. You register there, so you're using the database in a number of ways, not only finding contract opportunities from the past to see if this is a good market for you, finding current contract opportunities, and then having your business registered there to be able to do business with the federal government. Now, next question might be, can working with a PTAC help me be more competitive if I'm going to jump in to that federal marketplace? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. And one of the ways that we do that is looking at that set-aside marketplace. So the federal government is intentional, as are other governments, but we're going to talk specifically here about the federal side. They are intentional about wanting to bring small businesses, diverse businesses into the fold, into the marketplace. And we saw that they know they want to do it to be more competitive, to get higher quality goods and lower prices because competition does that for them. But they also are looking to target a portion of that marketplace to make sure that that happens. And the way they do that is through the certifications programs offered by the Small Business Administration. So when you look at that large gray circle, that is your $650 billion spend, overall spend. And then you look at the segmented part. So you take that piece out of the pie and you break that down into how do they get small business engaged and incorporated into the supply base. Women-owned small businesses account for 5% of the goal of every agency. The agencies can increase these goals, but these goals are at a minimum of what the targets are for the agencies. Small disadvantaged businesses, and that includes what we know as the 8A, and we'll talk just a bit about that, but that goal is 12% and continues to increase. Hub zone businesses, those are historically underutilized business zones. Do you qualify for that? That is where your business is located and the employees that you bring in to the business, locating the business in a hub zone and employees living in a hub zone. That we would talk through to see if you could qualify there. And then honoring our service disabled veteran-owned businesses, that goal is 3%, as is the hub zone. So that 23% carve out, the rest of that then of the 23% is for small businesses. And How do you determine if you're a small business? We'll assist you in looking at the SBA size standards in understanding, do you qualify as small? And what does that look like? And this set-aside marketplace, this piece of the pie that we just segmented, those set-asides are reserved for small businesses between $10,000, which again is that micro purchase threshold where purchase cards can come into play, to $250,000. And that $25,000 to $250,000 is really considered simplified acquisition threshold, always targeted for a small business, unless they absolutely can't find a small business that would be capable of that, which would be very hard to believe. Okay. Now, why is this significant for a small business? These social economic contracting programs can really assist, whether you're an 8A, a service disabled veteran, a woman owner, a hub zone, taking advantage of being able to just compete with businesses that are similarly situated with you. And not only being similarly situated, but also that the agencies have the ability in many cases to do a sole source contract. So not even competing with businesses your own size, but if there's limited opportunity, for example, for an 8A business in that marketplace, and you are an 8A business, then sole source contract awards are also a huge advantage in this marketplace. So we would discuss the basics of each program, your eligibility criteria. Do you meet the 51% unconditional ownership? Do you meet the unconditional control that is required for you to get your business certified? And talk more about the benefits that are available to you in these programs when you're pursuing government contracts. And it's important for you to take advantage of these benefits that are available to you. Learn about how to leverage them, how to search in those databases for women-owned small businesses, for example, to see if this is a tool that can help increase your competitiveness and help you in partnering, being certified, working with a business that is not certified. When the opportunity is restricted, you can bring in other businesses to the marketplace and working with you, getting a portion of a contract that you may not have been able to qualify on your own, but businesses want to work with you because you have that certification and you open up a marketplace. You also will find this to be a great advantage if you're looking at a mentor protege. Mentor protege is finding a mentor that can help you build capacity, help you in ways that you're looking for building strength, such as backroom, such as bonding, etc. And that mentor willing to work with you and help you grow would also like to joint venture with you and be able to bid on contracts with you. So again, a significant advantage to the social economic programs that we certainly would go into more detail on. So I mentioned small disadvantaged business goal continues to grow in the federal marketplace. So if you're asking yourself, what is a small disadvantaged business? That is really a business concern that meets the requirements that are very similar to an 8A business program participant. So owned by a socially and economically disadvantaged individual, it is unconditionally owned and controlled by that individual or one or more individuals. And this is the definition. The CFR is the Code of Federal Regulations. And you'll see many references in government contracting, particularly if you start looking at what we would consider solicitations, which line up a government contracting requirement for a bid. Those Code of Federal Regulations and the resulting federal acquisition regulations, the terms and conditions that the government sets forward to do business with them, they are very important in a well-defined requirement. The term is in some circumstances, but also businesses owned by Indian tribes, Alaska Native American corporations, and these codes will give you the requirements related to those specific entities if they apply. Now, next, you really want to understand how you're going to market your business. So if all of these other opportunities, the market research, getting registered in SAM, seeing if you qualify for a social economic certification, lead you to putting yourself then out there in the marketplace. Now, it's important to understand that contracting officers also do market research, as do businesses that want to participate in the market. So one of the major ways a contracting officer can find those small businesses. Again, we've already seen that they have goals of a minimum of 23% of business awards to small businesses. Where do they find you? So this dynamic small business search, this market database is where they're going to go, and we will work diligently on improving your standing, your marketability in this dynamic small business search. So in looking at this, having a profile in here that is basically created through your sam.gov entity registration will put you into this database. And what does that mean? It means that you can be found. Similar to what we used to use years ago as the yellow pages, where we could go and search out a business. This database will allow a contracting officer to determine, is there a small business out there, so that I can set this aside and only allow small businesses to compete. They're going to do that only if they understand that there are businesses that will respond to them. So this is one of those ways. Sources sought, requests for information are others, but this is an easy way for you to be found. And then if you see on the right-hand side, this is a screenshot of SBA Connect. And SBA has a portal then for you to get into this SBA database to make those enhancements, to really build this up, make this a marketing tool, put branding consistency in for your business. And so this is just one way that we can do. This is a no fee resource provided through the SBA, very critical resource. So we as an Apex Accelerator, in assisting our clients, would spend a lot of time making sure that we have this completed in every aspect of keywords for searches, special equipment, etc. Your certifications, if those are granted to you by the SBA, will automatically be populated into this database. So if a government agency is searching by, I need to find some 8A companies, they could actually search this database. 8A companies, they could look for 8A companies in the state of Illinois. They can really get granular on this search. We want to make sure they find you anyway that they're going to do that search. Okay, another very important, very critical marketing method that we have in the government space. Now, this is federal and state government, is something known as a capability statement. Another very key aspect of being able to work in the government ecosystem, the government marketplace, is building relationships. And we'll talk a lot about how making those introductions, getting those capability briefings with the agencies. Will start with presenting your capability statement. In addition, a networking opportunity, an opportunity to meet someone at an event. The capability statement is the takeaway. It's the introduction that you're going to make for your company. So what is it? Capability statement is basically a one-page marketing piece that has 3 specific components to it. Core competencies. What do you want to do? Not what do you do overall, but what in your business are you going to target to the government? Regardless of what you do on the commercial side or on the business to consumer side, they want to know, what can you do? What do you have capacity and capability? What are you ready to do for a government agency? Okay, you are communicating concisely through that capability narrative of what are your core competencies. And your core competencies in 3 sentences, 2 to 3 sentences. We find contracting officers will tell us this is a quick read for them. 6 to 7 seconds, they need to be able to find out exactly what it is your business can do for them. And in doing that, then you also give your differentiators. So you told me what you want to do for me, and tell me why I would use you over your competitors. What makes you unique? What differentiates you? What metrics? What specifically, not I have the best price. Everybody can say I have the best price. I have the best quality. JD Power says my quality ranked this. That is a specific, that is a metric, that is quantifiable. And that's the kind of detail we want to put in a capability statement. And this is really designed to convince that government buyer that you have high value and low risk. And the low risk assessment is going to come through past performance. So on this capability statement, the third section of this is giving a couple of examples of projects that you performed, satisfied customers, starting with government agencies, then going to commercial if you don't have any government experience. Who is going to speak to the success of a project, a program, a sale to an agency if somebody wanted to inquire, somebody that's very risk averse wants to find out your success. Okay, so 2 or 3 examples of that would then be one of the latter sections of your capability statement. You're communicating your maturity. We have been in business for 105 years serving this marketplace. Okay, this is just one example of a capability statement, and you're going to see many such examples. They're all going to be a little bit different because formats are flexible as long as you have the basic information that is a takeaway for that agency, being your core competencies, past performance, corporate data, of course, giving them all the information about your company, a section on differentiators, and then contact information front and center. Who are they going to call? Who's going to pick up the phone when it rings so that they are very familiar with the contact information, make it very simple for them to call you if you have enticed them with the information that you put on the capability statement. Okay, now we're going to spend just a little bit of time and we're going to talk about state of Illinois contracting. Okay, we're going to talk about what it takes to do state of Illinois contracting. And to start with, the coding is different. The coding taxonomy that is used for the state of Illinois is something known as the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing. So as you've gone through the federal discovery, in the federal marketplace, you use the North American Industry Classification System code. So the NAICS code is familiar with many. That is something you also will put on your tax returns when you are in business and to talk about the industry that you work in. State of Illinois uses this NIGP system, this coding taxonomy. So that's something that you need to know to classify your products. Very important when you go to do everything in the government, finding solicitations, registering your business on the required sites. And so that is going to be one of the key factors we look at up front is, do you have those NIGP codes and are they the correct codes for you? And are there multiple codes? So to understand the extent of the codes. Okay. And then also to participate in the small business set-aside program. So again, you have the state of Illinois government being intentional of trying to bring small business into the fold. So in doing that, there is a way to register for that program to get access that if you're not registered of those small business set-aside programs that you won't even be able to see. Okay. And then knowing what the pre-qualifications are. Get pre-qualified with the agencies that require that, such as the Capital Development Board and the Illinois Department of Transportation. You may or may not be aware of that, but your APEX Accelerator will help you understand that these are going to be done up front, because what we don't want to have happen is for you to have an opportunity for a contract and not be set up and ready to go with your pre-qualifications or your certifications before the bidding. And that opportunity, the door closes for you on that because there was not enough time to get that done to be able to bid on that contract. So we want to avoid that at all costs. And to really understand the procurement process. In the state of Illinois, there is a method to the madness, but it is a bit complicated. There are 4 locations, and you see those mentioned here, where agencies will post all of the requirements for the state. So we will certainly walk you through that to understand that bit by bit, and find out which of those agency posting sites, those procurement bulletins, would be most appropriate for you to register at and get connected with those agencies. I mentioned the small business set-aside program. This is one of the areas where bids under 100 procurements under $100,000 are put into this program, and there's more than 600 commodities, products, services that any dollar amount automatically goes into this program. And so what they're doing is they're looking for 10% of their contracts to go to qualified small businesses, and they've had substantial success with that. And to be small in the state of Illinois, again, because their rules are different. They are setting the criteria that a wholesale business is considered small if your receipts, your annual sales is less than $13 million. Retail business or businesses selling a service are considered small if their annual sales and receipts are less than $8 million. If you're a manufacturing business, that's considered small if it's less than 250 employees. And if you're in construction, annual sales and receipts less than $14 million qualifies you as small. So this is irregardless of any other programs. If you meet that criteria, you're considered small. And there is a way to get into this program through the Illinois Procurement Gateway. So it's something that we would certainly help you do and certainly encourage you to participate in this program if you're interested in state contracting and you meet that criteria. The way that the state of Illinois supports supplier diversity in their sourcing is through the Business Enterprise Program and the Veteran Business Program. So we would want to see if you are interested in being a vendor to the state of Illinois, can you qualify for this program? Right? 30% of the goal for the state agencies is to procure goods and services through businesses that are certified in this Business Enterprise Program, and then 3% for businesses certified in the Veteran Business Program. So what does it take to be in that program? You need to be 51% owned and unconditionally controlled by a minority, woman, disabled person, or a veteran. And what that means is you control the day-to-day functions of the business. That means making those strategic decisions and those tactical decisions. You must be as the owner, as the one that qualifies, a citizen of the United States or a resident alien. And for the business, the annual gross sales is less than $150 million. So certainly this is one of the areas, again, in looking at how do you put a tool in your toolbox to be more competitive. This is one of the certifications that we would look at for any state contracting. We would walk you through that process. And then going back to how do you find solicitations and opportunities with the state of Illinois, the bulletins, the procurement bulletins are posted in 4 different places. If you're wanting to work with the Illinois Department of Transportation, they have a method of their lettings of opportunities, and that would be the website. Illinois Tollway has their forecast. They project what their needs are going to be on that website. Capital Development Board, which is doing vertical construction, is posting there. And the higher education, all of the universities have a bulletin that they're posting on. So the bid buy is for general services, including the Illinois Tollway. and some general needs for the other agencies will go on bid buy. So generally one we would always focus on because it has a wide variety of needs posted on bid buy. So walking you through these procurement bulletins and really understanding in general how the state of Illinois agencies are doing their purchases, what registrations are required, the Illinois Procurement Gateway being kind of the be-all, end-all, again, required for the Small Business Set-Aside Program. Okay, this is just a screenshot of what that Illinois Procurement Gateway looks like as a centralized portal, very important in doing state contracting. Okay, and when we look at how do we get information that is of importance to our businesses, we are seeking out what is new in the marketplace and what is a potential game changer for our clients. And one of the things that we've worked on for the last couple of years is getting the surplus property program available and the qualifications in place for our clients. So this surplus property program in 2019, Congress passed and President Donald Trump signed a way for veterans to get access to property that had previously been no longer needed. So we'll say donated to the GSA by agencies for reuse. And it was donated to veterans of foreign wars, not-for-profits that could use this equipment in their services to the public. The act, the Veteran Small Business Enhancement Act, opened that up to our veteran and service-disabled veteran business owners. So this donation program works in our state through Springfield. And so agencies will put non-required personal property into the GSA program. Working with our GSA partners in Springfield, then if you can get certified for your business as a veteran or service-disabled veteran, business owned through the federal government and then through the state of Illinois, you can apply to get into this property program. It's a no-cost program for the general services, meaning federally discarded property. The state of Illinois has an online auction program that works a little bit differently, but because both are open to our veteran business owners, then you do need both certifications through the federal government and the state government. And then you can apply to see what is out there. First come, first serve for the GSA property. Again, state of Illinois property is an online bidding process. And if you are interested and you want to pursue certification, that is certainly something that the APEX Accelerator can help you do. And then this is just a random sample of the type of items that are available. Literally on any given day, these are the type of things that you would see. There are some requirements, for example, for property that's titled, some ownership requirements there, but the GSA department in Springfield can certainly help you do that. What our role is to get you certified so you can apply to participate in this program as a veteran-owned business. So we're offering support. We're going to help you find opportunities, and we're going to do that through a tool we have called Bid Match, and that's literally setting up a profile so you can be notified of bids as they come available on many, many different sites. So we set up a profile, matches where you work, what you want to work in, and hopefully then you'll get matches that will be of interest to you, actually bid on when you're ready. So those bid boards, for example, the bid boards we just talked about with the state of Illinois, how do you respond? Okay, so you've done your market research, you've looked on sam.gov, you found active opportunities or something came to you from Bid Match. Now what? So the now what is how do we work on what's going to be required in that proposal? How do you research who maybe currently has if it's an incumbent out there, and understanding again the FAR requirements, those terms and conditions. And then how do you perform on that contract? You've won the contract. What happens? What if you need to modify it? What if you have economic price adjustments? What if you have performance issues? It looks like you're going to be late invoicing. The wide area workflow is required through the Department of Defense. All of these things come when you feel that you are ready to go, when you are capable, you're government industrial base ready, defense industrial base ready. What is it going to take then to actually bid on those contracts? And that's what we're going to support you. And then I mentioned, getting those social economic certifications for teaming, mentor protege, GSA schedules. That was one of the things that was on our acquisition pyramid. If you're looking to work in the Department of Defense, cybersecurity it's here. You have to meet those requirements and the certification. If you're at that level of getting that data that's controlled unclassified through this cybersecurity maturity model certification, FOCI. Government wants to know if you have any foreign ownership in your business, etc. If you're an innovator, if you want to bring innovations and technology to the marketplace, certainly will help you with that. SIBR, SITR, those are funding available through Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer through universities and research partners. Are you looking for funding? Are you looking for a way for proof of concept, for prototyping? SIBR, SITR, as they're referred to commonly through the agencies, is a very keen way to be able to get non-dilutive funding out to your get that technology commercialized and out to the marketplace. Okay. So I just want to, again, lost the train here. Jordan, can you see the screen? I feel like I lost the screen here.
Yeah, we can see the events and training slide.
Okay, perfect. I don't know why it's not sharing on my screen, but as long as you can see that. So we have networking events that we do, and we do events and trainings such as the one that we're promoting here. We have the Midwest Contracting Summit that's coming up on March 11th and 12th. Encourage you to put that on your calendar. That type of networking where you meet agencies, you meet prime contractors, and it will be educational as well as networking. So the training webinars that we're doing, such as what we do today, is one way that we get the information out to the businesses on timely things, and then just general business education requirements to do government contracting through our webinars. Okay. And so I want to ask if we have any questions then, Jordan.
We do not have any submitted right now. Also, just a quick note, if you switch to another slide, it did not change for us, but just letting you know.
All right. You know what? I'm going to come out, stop sharing, and see if I can get back to. Okay. All right. So that is all that I have. I do think it's important to note, though, that as you saw on the slides, the Illinois APEX Accelerator, while we are funded through the Department of Defense and the National Defense Authorization Act, we are located at the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation, and they also provide funding for us and provide a host center for this as other locations as well. But we really couldn't do this without their program support, and also for our particular center, support of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign Office of the Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Office of the Vice Chancellor for Administration and Operations, and the Office of Public Engagement, Office of the Chancellor, and University of Illinois Systems Office of the Assistant Vice President Program Services. It is so key for all APEX accelerators to have these partners to be able to deliver our services that I think it's very important to acknowledge our hosts and what we are able to do because of their support and the importance that they put on the community outreach and engaging small businesses in not only doing business with them, for example, with the University of Illinois, but in general with government agencies. So I didn't want to let this go without acknowledging the importance of the partners for all of us that are in the APEX Accelerator network that rely on our partners to deliver our what we consider very important services for businesses, our coaching and mentoring that want to be in that government marketplace. And believe me, the government wants you to be in that marketplace, and that's why they put these programs in place for your assistance. Okay, so with that, I'm going to just give one more opportunity for questions.
We did get one question, Kelly, and it's more of a technical question, but someone asked how they could get in contact with someone.
Okay, well, let me go back up, and I will go back up to the first slide. So
While
you
it's
can,
going, I will share too, when you get the follow-up email from today's session specifically, it will have links to our website and things like that. If you're already a registered client of the SBDC, you are in our system to work with Kelly as well. And so you would be able to schedule with Kelly as well. So I'll include that in the follow-up email as well.
perfect. Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, and this is my direct email address. And if you contact me and you're not currently a client of the center there at the Champaign County EDC, I will connect you with Jordan. Jordan will certainly help you sign up for assistance and then provide you information on how to jump on my schedule. I am in Champaign for on-site visits as well as doing virtual connections. And again, our clients will be from across Central Illinois, so we will certainly reach you wherever you are. We can do that virtually or again on site in Champaign-Urbana.
Okay, the individual did follow up and said that they have worked with Madeline in the past and they have referred this individual to you. So we will make sure to get information to you to schedule with Kelly specifically as well.
Great. Okay, well, Jordan, if we don't have any other questions, we'll end the presentation for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and I certainly hope if we can be of assistance, if you are interested in pursuing government contracting or just understanding if that is an appropriate marketplace for you to grow and maybe go to the next stage in your business, please let us know. We'd be happy to at least have a conversation with you to get you started in that area. So again, thank you for attending and have a good rest of your day.